guys, good morning. Welcome back. It's Lori with Simple Suburban Homestead. Today I'm going to be showing you how to wash your quail eggs. Depending on which state you live in, if you're interested in selling your eggs, you would just go through your state. I got certified 2 years ago to sell to restaurants or to private individuals, and there's a cleaning process that you have to do. If you don't have all the big setups that's needed, there's just certain guidelines. Warm water, certain type of soap like Dawn. You can also purchase the egg cleansing soaps from Tractor Supply, which I did that a couple years ago, but I felt like the Dawn cleaned them better because I had more suds in my water. You're gonna wanna take you're gonna want to have 2 containers of water. Now, if I had 100 eggs that I was washing, I had the big like white basins that you can get for $2 at Walmart. For today, I only have 1.5 dozen eggs. So we're using 1 bowl with warm soapy water and 1 bowl that has just warm water. If you were going to sell these, you would wash them, set them out to dry, and then you would package them and refrigerate them until they're sold. Once they're washed, the bloom is cleaned off of the egg, and the bloom is a protective barrier that allows them to stay at room temperature and not go bad. Once they're washed, I would say they're good for a couple of weeks. If they're not washed, they're good for about 30 days, maybe a little bit longer, just depends. And you can always put your egg in a bowl of water, and if it sinks, it's a good egg. If it floats, it's a bad egg, discard it. So I have already washed a few, and I'm gonna open this container. We're gonna make deviled eggs with these. Deviled quail eggs are amazing. They're so much fun. I already have my water boiling. So you're just going to put your eggs into the warm water with the soap. I actually got these eggs from a neighbor down the street who got into quail through me. My quail aren't laying eggs yet, so these are his eggs, and they're beautiful. And I believe they've already been, that egg's got a little soft spot. I'm gonna set that one aside, and I'm gonna cook it for my chickens later. If there's any cracks in them or anything, those eggs you would want to discard right away. Okay. So I take a toothbrush and I clean my eggs, and I put them in just warm water, not hot, just warm. You just want to make sure there's no poo on them or little feathers, or depending on where you have your quail, if you have them in an aviary, you're going to have stuff from the ground on them. If you have them in pens, you're going to more than likely not have anything on them. I do like to give my quail sand to roll around in. They absolutely love sand. And in the winter, when my quail are in pens, I give them containers that I get from the Dollar Tree, like the big kind of like off-brand Rubbermaids, and I put hay in them, and they'll all huddle up in them. They're sweet, but they like something that isn't always pen underneath their feet, which I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be standing on the pen either. Now my new quail that I've just hatched out, those babies will be in the hatching time cage, which has a plastic base on it, and so their little feet will not be on wire. My cages outside are wire, which if I had that to do again, I would change that. Now I'm just gonna bring my boiling water over here, and because it is hot, I'm gonna go ahead and put my eggs in like this, and then they're gonna boil for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes of boiling, I'm going to put them in a cold ice water bath for about 15 minutes, and then they'll be ready to peel, and they should peel very nicely. Get this back on the stove, set my timer. Oops. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to tell you guys or show you is our sprouts. So, Christian, if you can stand up and just make sure that the sprouts are showing that I'm in the camera. These are our wheatgrass, and these are our broccoli. They are looking amazing. They have not been rinsed today. I'll be rinsing those shortly. And one other thing that I wanted to show you that I'm excited about is I got some veggies to plant. We got sweet peppers, cantaloupe, 2 different types of tomatoes, summer squash, zucchini, and cucumbers. And I found this 72 cell seed starting greenhouse kit at Tractor Supply yesterday. So I went ahead and got this, and then I also had showed you all on an earlier video about the biodegradable bags that I got. Well, this morning I went to Home Depot or Lowe's, and they had some of the plastic bases that their little planters sit in. They had some of those empty, and they gave them to me. So I have 3 plastic bases that I can start more seeds in my bags. So that's wonderful. Anyway, guys, I will be getting back to you guys as soon as the eggs are done boiling and we start our deviling process. Hope you guys are enjoying my content, and I'll be back shortly. God bless. Here are our quail eggs in the ice bath after being boiled. I'm going to leave them in the ice bath for about 15 minutes. And then we'll start the peeling. Welcome back. So our eggs have sat in the ice water for about 15 minutes, and we're going to crack, and I'll show you how they peel. It's always better if you start them at the fat end. You can get right underneath that membrane. The membranes are super thick. Look at that. Perfect. These are pretty big eggs. These must have been his jumbos. Like I said in my video yesterday, my 4-year-old granddaughter can peel these quail eggs. Just gotta get your finger right underneath it. Off it goes. I have a really hard time peeling my chicken eggs. They tend to not peel very well. Seems like I always put little bumps and bruises on them. This one I had already crunched up a minute ago. Wow. It's almost like this one has an extra membrane. Right there, I got it. It peeled really good like I was under the membrane, but I left some membrane on, which I'll be rinsing these anyway. I just kind of wanted to show you guys how easy and how, oh, I might have just told a little fib. I got underneath the egg instead of the membrane on this one. We'll see. There we go. Now I got the membrane going. Sometimes you can just kind of squeeze them. There she goes. Pops right out. Perfect. Now, I'll be coming back to you guys in a little bit when I devil these. We all love deviled eggs. I myself am not a huge egg person. The chicken eggs, to me, I'm not a huge egg white person. I don't mind the yellows, the yolks are good, but the whites, not big on the whites. They're good for you, but I'm not big on them. And with a quail egg, it's very balanced. There's not more of one part of the egg, it feels like. There's as much yolk as there is white. So when we eat these boiled, if I cut them right down the middle, then I can get as much white as I do the yolk, and I don't get kind of wigged out by all the egg white. Beautiful, beautiful quail eggs, so good, so nutritious. I'll bring back some content for you guys about the difference in the nutritional content of quail eggs to chicken eggs. They're both good for you. However, quail egg beat chicken eggs in certain areas of vitamins, and they're very, very good if you're sick. They're very good for your animals if your dogs are sick. People feed quail eggs. You can actually buy quail eggs off of Etsy. People buy them to feed their dogs, which is interesting to me. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll come back when I start the deviling process. Thanks. Hey guys. Okay, I'm back and we are ready to devil our quail eggs. First off, if you've never seen the inside of a quail egg, I'm going to bring this close to the camera. They have a blue hue to the inside of their shell. They're so pretty. The kids always comment on how pretty they are. You might not be able to see the blue and the lighting here in my kitchen, but it's blue. And that's really kind of cool. I wanted to show those to you before I moved them. Okay, so when I devil my eggs, oh, sorry. See, I might be able to do this. So I cut the eggs, and oh, they are precious. Dump your yolks out. It's a pretty quick process. They pop right out. Kids are going to be happy for these tonight with dinner. Don't exactly know what else we're having, but we're going to have quail eggs. They might not make it till dinner. They're so little, and they're such a good healthy snack. Not by the time I put the mayonnaise in them, but we won't talk about that. They are tasty though. I do a lot of pressure canning. I have pressure canned all sorts of vegetables. I do a lot of beans. I do my own chili beans, and my, I actually, because we camp, I actually canned the whole chili, the beans, the peppers, the onions, and the meat. And then this year I did diced tomatoes for the first time. If you guys go on YouTube to Living Traditions Homestead, Kevin and Sarah, they do a lot. I believe they're in Missouri, and I follow them, and I've learned so much. I've learned so much about the quail. I mean, they eat all sorts. They truly live off their homestead. And I learned I took her recipe for her pasta sauce, and that's how I first started doing that. My daughter and I take the kids and go berry picking, and we water bathed. jellies. We've done strawberry and blueberry, and I put up apples last year. And I like to do a homemade chicken pot pie. And so I'll pressure can all the vegetables that go in that, and then I have a recipe for homemade cream of chicken soup. And so I make that for my chicken pot pie. And then my daughter is big into the sourdough breads and baking sourdough stuff, and she makes a really good, it's not sourdough, but she makes a really good homemade pie crust. And so we'll make big chicken pot pies with my canned stuff. We do a lot of, bagged beans. Dry beans are so cheap, and it's so easy. You can get so many quarts or pints put up with the beans. And I love Roma tomatoes, and Roma tomatoes down here in Florida, well, it's ridiculous how much everything's gone up. Guys, I went into the grocery store yesterday, and I love Publix. Publix isn't everywhere. I think it's just here in the South. And it's kind of like a Wegmans. It's very, very nice. Maybe not as, it doesn't have as much to offer as Wegmans does, the few times I've been in Wegmans. But I normally buy everything except my meat that I can't have, I can't grow everything here because I live in a neighborhood. But my vegetables and fruit I can get at Walmart. We have an Aldi real close, but I don't always think to go to Aldi. I don't know why. I guess because Walmart's at the end of my street, so it's easy, and the Publix is the other direction at the end of my street. So either way, I have a grocery store right nearby. Well, I went into Walmart yesterday. No, I'm sorry. I went into Publix yesterday, and one box of Land O'Lakes butter, 4 sticks, was $7.67. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely blown away by that. I just don't understand it. Hang on one second, guys. I gotta put my doggy out. Okay. So here are the little egg yolks. I'm just gonna mash them up real fast. I was joking with my friend saying that we need our own cow so we can produce our own butter and milk and everything's just so expensive. I honestly don't know, and I praise God and thank God every day for my husband's job. I don't know how kids do it these days. I don't know 30 years ago if we would have been able to survive in the market like it is now. It's just crazy. So glad we got our house. I mean, I know people that can't even buy right now because the mortgage rates, and I'm sure everybody knows somebody like that. It's just sad. It's just a sad place we're in. Seems like a lot of mayonnaise for that little bit of egg. And we like a little bit of mustard in it, and we like sweet pickle relish. Just a little bit of mustard and some sweet relish. Stir that all up. A little bit of salt. Not much. That Hellman's has salt in it. Okay, now I like to take a little Ziploc bag, and I like to cut the little tip out of it. Of course, I have a pair of scissors it doesn't like to cut when I need it to. Okay. Take a little spatula. Get all that egg yolk. Some people might like other seasonings and stuff in theirs. We are just pretty simple. Pretty simple for what we like with this stuff. I just squeeze it right down to the tip. And there she goes. I was afraid I didn't have a big enough hole cut in the end of it, but I do believe I do. These are pretty. They make sweet little hors d'oeuvres if you're having company over. We went to dinner at a friend's house a while back, and I took some, and they were just amazed. They loved them. She actually posted a picture of them on Facebook. People just don't, you know, I honestly don't know how I got into quail. I got into chicken through a friend of mine, through my best friend. I actually grew up on a farm. I lived for I lived for 46 years on 97 acres. And my children, who are grown, well, 4 of my 5 children are grown. My youngest is 14. But, you know, they had every animal imaginable. We had horses, we had donkeys, my grandparents had cows. And for some reason, I don't remember having chickens. My daughter says that we had chickens. That's one I don't remember. We had a sheep, we had pigs, we had goats, but don't remember chickens. And when I moved into this neighborhood, of course, I didn't think I'd ever have anything like that again. And with the economy like it is, and honestly, with the world the way it is, and everything that's going on in and around us, we thought, how can we do some things to help ourselves cut costs and take care of our family? So I got a few chickens, and I can only have hens here, so when I hatch out chickens, I have to have somebody who can take my roosters. And we got into the quail, and I think I just probably saw it on YouTube somewhere, and it was just so interesting to me that these little birds, like people have them in apartments, they have them in their garages, they have them in aviaries, they have them in neighborhoods, they have them on big farms. Quail can go just about any place depending on how many you have. We actually had one that got injured, not sure how she got injured, but she wasn't able to fly, and she must have bumped her head at some point. And we ended up bringing her in, and she lived in a big Rubbermaid tote for like 8 months while we rehabilitated her. I mean, she could walk, she could eat, she just couldn't fly. So I knew I couldn't put her in the aviary, or, you know, the other birds might hurt her. And so we eventually put her out in the aviary, and she died a good old age, but her name was Judy. Quail, when you have a bunch of quail and they all look the same, they're just quail. They don't get names. Chickens, our chickens all have names. Okay, let me get my paprika, and we're gonna be done with this. Sorry, I hate to make you guys wait for me. But I want to show you the final. Gonna sprinkle a little bit of paprika. Make sure it's not cinnamon. Done that before. Okay guys, here you go. Double quail eggs. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll be bringing more content. You guys have a great day. God bless.